Hi, welcome back to the heuristics application lessons. Now, today we are going to look at Bca tabulation. Everything changes. So what exactly is Bca tabulation? It is a method that we use to solve before and after problems. So it replaces model drawing. Which means that you actually take a shorter time to solve the problem as compared to trying to draw the model. So let's look at question 1 and see how do we apply this method onto this problem. So let's read question 1. Now, Fanny collected 1/5 as many seashells as Gary at first. So your numerator points to the first person, denominator points to the second person. So when you see fractions, you have to do arrow pointing because you need to use that to draw the model, and you also need to use that to fill in the boxes for the tabulation, right, for the table. Then Fanny collected 5 more seashells and Gary found 12 more seashells. And the ratio of the seashells Gary had to the seashells Fanny had became 4:1. So how many seashells did Gary have at first? So this is a before and after problem. So when you have before and after problem, you need to think about what is unchanged. So number 1, the total is unchanged. Nope, the total has changed because there's no transfer. And is the difference unchanged? Also no, because they did not collect equal number of seashells. Is one person's unchanged? No, because both person has more seashells. Alright, both person collected and found seashells. So everything changes. So if everything changes, then what do? Then we can still draw the table, right? So let's draw the table and let's see how we use the table to work out the answers. So it's like model drawing. You don't solve the problem. You actually draw out the problem first, and then later you look at the model to solve. So this table method is the same. You fill in the table first, then later you use a table to solve. So Fanny and Gary and total. Alright, so how do you fill in the boxes? You start with the first sentence. Fanny collected 1 box or 1 unit, Gary 5 units. Okay, so you put down 1 unit for Fanny, 5 units for Gary, and total 6 units. So where are you now? You're onto the first sentence. Then Fanny collected 5 more seashells, so you plus 5, and Gary found 12 more, so you plus 12, right? 12 more seashells. And then the ratio of the seashells Gary had to Fanny became 4:1. So Gary has 4. You don't call 4 units again, you call 4 parts, right? Because you have used the units already, so you have to call differently. So Fanny will have 1 part, and the total altogether in the end is 5 parts. So how many seashells did Gary have, which is the question mark, and you are done. So the table is drawn out, is filled up already. So you can see the time taken to fill the table is quite fast, right? Not too long. Alright, so what do we do next? Now we look at the table and we try to solve. So if everything changes, what do? We make the after equal, right? Make the after equal. So let me use a different color. So you will have how do you make the after equal? You just have to times 4. Okay, so you take 1 part times 4 to make the after equal. And then the whole thing, right, over here, you also have to do the same, times 4 for everything. Alright, it's like cutting the model cutting one box into smaller parts, and then the rest of the model, you also have to cut into smaller parts as well. Okay, now the table is very unique. You can go downwards, alright? Later on in the future lessons, you can see the table can actually work backwards also. So you go downwards, and then what do you have? You will have Fanny. Fanny has 4 units at first, then plus 20. That will give you 4 parts, right? That is Fanny's. Then how about Gary? Gary has 5 units, then you plus 12, and that also equal to 4 parts. So can you see the equal now? They have equal in the end. So how do we use this to draw the model? Alright, very easy. In primary 1, you learn about how to draw basic model, like parts whole model, comparison model. So you look at the first statement. We have part plus part equal 1 whole, right? Your part is 4 units, right? So parts plus parts equal the whole rectangle. Okay? Then how about the other one? How about the other statement? So you have similar rectangle, right? And you have 5 units, so cut a bit longer, plus 12 also equal 4 parts, which is the same rectangle, right? You can see that the rectangle is the same length. So dotted line, which I'm showing over here, shows you what? Shows you that they are equal to each other. All right. Then how do we use the model to continue? Now, you study the model and you find the difference. Can you see the units? Right, what's the difference? Or how many more? Is 5 units. Right, so 5 unit minus 4 unit, that is 1 unit more. Then you look at the whole numbers and you find the difference. So 20 minus 12, that's 8. And then can you see that the difference is the same? 1 unit is equal to 8. So you write down your unit statements, 1 unit equal to 8. And then you look to the table. All right, once you get 1 unit equal to 8, you can actually solve already. So you come back to the table and you look for the question mark, which is 5 units, right? Can you see 5 units? So how many did Gary have at first? So 5 units will be 8 times 5, 40. So Gary has 40 seashells at first, and you solve already. Okay? All right, so you can see that the time taken to solve the problem is actually quite fast if you know your methods well. All right, so let's go to number 2. Okay, number 2, and let's do the same thing. Now, John had 2/5 as many kiwi fruits as Benny. So which means that John has 2, Benny has 5. John bought another 8 kiwi fruits and Benny ate 5 kiwi fruits. Then John had 4/5 as many as Benny. So John has 4 and Benny has 5, right? So find the kiwi fruits John had at first. So again, it's a before and after, and everything changes. All right, because there's no transfer, they did not eat equal number of kiwi fruits, and both person has bought and ate kiwi fruits. So everything changed. Okay, so let's draw the table and fill in the boxes. So you have your before change after, then you have your John, then Benny, and then you have the total. Alright, so let's revise how do we fill in the boxes. Alright, now you start with the first sentence. So John had 2 boxes, or 2 units. Okay, 2 units. Benny has 5 units, and the total is 7 units. So you are done until here. John bought another 8. So you plus 8, right? And Benny ate another 5 kiwi fruits. So when you 8 means you have lesser already. So Benny will have to minus 5. Okay, so make sure you fill in the boxes correctly. And where are you now? Until here already. Then John had 4 boxes left, or 4 parts left. So I'm going to put 4 parts. I can't call 4 units, right? Because I have units already on top. So I have to call parts. Then Benny will be 5 parts. And the total will be 9 parts in the end. So find the kiwi fruits John had at first. And that is your question mark. Okay, so how do we use the table to continue solving? Now, again, everything changes. So what do? I make their afters equal. So John has 4 parts in the end. I just times 5. Benny has 5 parts. I just times 4. Make the after equal so that it's easier to draw the model. So if you times 5, then everything here, you also have to times 5. And then times 4, then everything here, you also times 4. Okay? Then the table, right? The table go down, right? Or it flows downwards. It means that John has 10 units at first. And plus 40, that will give you 20 parts. Okay, 20 parts. Okay, so we're going to do it slowly. Alright, then how about Benny? Benny has 20 units. Then minus 20 also gives you 20 parts. So can you see the equal in the end? So you're going to draw the model with equal parts. So how do you draw the model with equal parts? Alright, now again, you have part plus part equal whole. If you look at the first sentence, parts. So parts, what is your parts? That is your 10 unit. Parts plus parts equal whole rectangle, which is the entire rectangle. Alright, then how about the 20 units minus 20? You draw a bit longer. So this is your 20 units. So your whole rectangle minus parts, or cut away 20, which is parts. And that gives you the other part, which is the empty box that you see. And the empty box that you see on the left side is also your 20 parts. Okay, let's run through again in case you're very confused. Okay, 10 unit plus 40 is 20 parts, which is the red rectangle. 20 units cut away 20 or minus 20, you also get the red color rectangle, which is your 20 parts. Alright, that's the reason why you want to make the after equal, so that you can draw a model like this. Alright, then what do you do next? You just fill in the empty box and you cut 10 units, and this is also 40. Alright, and then what do you do next? Then you compare. Right, you always find the difference, always compare and see whether what can you find. Can you find over here how many units is that? So there'll be 20 units minus 10 units, that will give you 10 units. Okay, you look at the arrow sign. So your 10 units is how many? 10 units is equal to 40 plus 20, and that will be 60. So your 10 unit is 60. So can you find 1 unit? So 1 unit will be 60 divided by 10, which is 6. So once you know how many is 1 unit, you can come back to the table and find how many John had at first. So John has how many at first? Is it 10 units? No, it is 2 units. Why? Because you times 5 and you times 4 to make equal. But it's not true that they have equal, right? Equal in the end. So which means that you have to look at 2 units and not 10 units. Okay, so John has 2 units. So how many is 2 units? So you have 6 times 2, 12. So John had 12 kiwi fruits at first. And that's how you use a table to solve the problem. Okay, so I hope that you have become a little bit more clear on how to use this table. So let's go to question number 3, the last question. Now, the number of spoons and forks in the restaurant was 3:7 respectively. After the chef bought 6 more spoons and 4 more forks, the spoons became 1/2 of the forks, which means that the spoon has 1 and the forks has 2 units, or 2 boxes or whatever, alright, 1 and 2. So how many forks did the chef have after the purchase? So what is unchanged? Now the total is changed because there's no transfer. And the difference is changed because the chef did not buy equal number of spoons and forks. And everything changed because why? Because you have the chef bought more spoons and also bought more forks. So there is not one group unchanged. Alright, so everything changed. Alright, then use your table. Once you know it's a before and after problem, then you draw your rows and columns. And you put down BCA. And you put down the spoons, the forks, and the total. And by now you should know how to fill in the boxes by looking at one sentence at a time. So you look at the first sentence and you put inside the box. So the spoons is 3 units, the forks is 7 units, and the total is 10 units. Alright, that is how you fill in the how you do the first sentence. Alright, let's look at the second sentence. The chef bought 6 more spoons and 4 more forks. So you plus 4 and you plus 6. And the spoon now became 1. Okay, 1. So you put 1 parts. Okay, and the forks became 2 parts. And the total in the end will be 3 parts. Alright, so you're until here already. Quite fast. So how many forks did the chef have after the purchase? So your question mark is over here, which is in the end, how many forks? Okay, so your table is done. So if everything changes, then what is the next thing to do? You make the after equal. So you times 2, and here you times 2, and here also times 2. Okay, but take notes that they don't have equal, right? There's no equal number of spoons and forks in the end, right? You make the after equal so that you can draw the model. So the table can flow like this, all right? So how to write your statements? So 3 units times 2, so there are 6 units of spoons at first, then you plus 12, and that gives you 2 parts in the end. Then how about the forks? There are 7 units of forks at first, then you plus 4, and that also gives you 2 parts. So can you see the equal, right? They have equal in the end. Alright, so how do you draw the model? Alright, so you have part plus part equal whole. Alright, whenever there's a plus in the statement, then that will be parts plus parts equal whole rectangle. So 6 units plus 12 equal whole, the entire rectangle. And then you have another part plus part, which is your 7 units plus 4. So cut a bit longer for the 7 units and then plus 4. And that gives you the same equal number, right? Equal as well. Okay, then you look at the model, and then what do? You find the difference. You look for the difference. Can you see the difference? So look at the units. 7 unit and you minus 6 unit, you can see there's 1 unit difference. Then you look at the whole numbers, and can you see what's the difference? You have 12 minus 4, which is 8. So what does it tell you? It tells you that 1 unit is equal to 8. So can you find how many forks did the chef have after the purchase? Which is 2 parts. But be careful, you cannot take 8 times 2, because 1 unit is 8. It's not 1 part is equal to 8. So if 1 unit is equal to 8, then you just find how many is 7 units. So 7 times 8, so what is 7 units? Or 8 times 7, you will get 56. So you put down 56, and then later you plus 4, and you get 60. And that's how you get how many forks after the purchase. So you solve the problem. So do write down your step to show how you get 60. So 56 plus 4 equals 60. And that's how you use a table to solve problems like this. Alright, so we have come to the end of the first online lesson on how do we use the Bca tabulation to solve before and after problems. Now in the next few lessons, we are going to use the same method to solve even harder problems. Right, there are more things to learn about this table. What you have done today, what you have learned today is just a fraction of what is supposed to be covered during the different lessons on tabulation. So there are still some more to learn. But the first thing that you need to know is you need to know how to fill in the boxes. Right? And then what do? Right, you need to know what is unchanged. Right, how to fill in the boxes, what is unchanged, and if everything changes, then what do? You make the after equal. Alright, so all your table method, all your tables, you always have to know. You have to start with what? Start with putting the numbers into the boxes. And how do you put the numbers in the boxes? You look at sentence by sentence. You don't jump the sentence. You look from the beginning of the problem, right? And then you go one by one, all right? Go sentence by sentence to fill in the boxes. All right, so we are done with the first online lesson. Next coming lesson, we will continue with our table method. So do try to solve the problem first before you watch the online lesson. All right, so I'll see you on every Saturday at 8 p.m. And hopefully all these lessons will help you to revise what you have learned, and also help you to have more confidence in how to solve the problem. All right, so see you on next Thursday.